What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast, and today we have an action-packed episode. Free agent frenzy, I call it. The Niners made a flurry of moves at the beginning of free agency, and so far, so good. A lot of fans have been very happy with the moves made by John Lynch and company in making this team a more competitive, a better team, and some would say possibly a contending team. We're going to go into all that on the episode today. I want to welcome my co-host, Aaron from 49ers First Takes. What's up, Aaron?
What's up, man?
Hello. And of course, Sterling of 49ers Access Podcast. Sterling, what's going on, man?
It's Friday, and when the weekend comes, we get happy.
Extra cap. No cap. No cap. That's what we call that. We call that no cap. Okay, so a lot of big news so far. Before we get into each one of these big news, guys, so far it's been pretty crazy free agency. I mean, we had the Max Crosby fiasco. We've had Niners bringing in players. How would you rate this free agency so far, Sterling?
Well, it's been fun. I think they've been more active than we thought they would be. Started things off with Mike Evans, and that was like, what does that deal look like? But since then, they have brought in 6 new players and re-signed 6 of their own. And so you've seen 12 guys be brought back or added to the roster in 2026, which I think is a great thing for them. You want to keep track with the Rams and the Seahawks in your own division. And I think while not adding 24-year-old superstars, they're doing the right things to make themselves and keep themselves competitive in what is the best division in football.
Absolutely. And, we talk about, players that they're bringing in to make this team better. Let's talk about the first big announcement that came yesterday. That is the reacquiring of none other than Dre Greenlaw, who was released by the Denver Broncos. Now he's back with the San Francisco 49ers. And look, I'm stoked. The fans are stoked. You can hear them. They're applauding right now. Guys, what was your take on Dre Greenlaw coming back to be a member of the San Francisco 49ers? He signed a 1-year deal for $7.5 million. I'm not sure if any of that is guaranteed. I don't know if they've announced the details of the contract, but let's start with Aaron. Aaron, what did you think about the signing of Dre Greenlaw?
You have been pretty prophetic, and I didn't want to listen to it because, I'm all about getting younger and faster. But you mentioned this, and you did mention the Mike Evans thing too. So like you said, I'm interested to see what the contract is, because 7.5, I said this yesterday, and I had a guy flip out at me and then block me. I don't know what his problem was, but I said 7.5 is a lot for a guy that could only maybe play 8 games, because that's how I'm thinking. But if it's structured a certain way, maybe it's more incentive laden, then it doesn't bother me as much. But hey, man, 1 year, cross our fingers that we can be healthy. I'm glad he's back, because I was always a big Dre Greenlaw fan, but I'm trying to be realistic about it, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Sterling, how'd you feel about this? I was stoked. I mean, I loved it, but I want to hear what both of you guys have to say. Sterling, how'd you feel about Dre Greenlaw returning to the Niners?
Yeah, when you've brought this up, and we've talked about this in previous shows, and really for the last month or so, it's been kind of a, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I don't want that. Please don't. He's often injured. He's missed 40% of his career games, and that's a massive risk. Now, money-wise, it's not when you have only $7.5 million to his name right now, but I do think my, in concrete opinion will change depending on how much money he gets when it comes to guarantees. But as a fan, as somebody who loves football and loves watching the best of the best play, Dre Greenlaw, when healthy, is one of the best linebackers in football. The way he flies around, the way he plays. When they talk about the type of defensive player they want on their team, they're talking about Dre Greenlaw. It's the reckless abandon, wreaking havoc. It's Tasmanian devil going 110 miles an hour, all gas, no brakes. That is Dre Greenlaw. And I think if he can remain healthy for 14 games, 10 plus games next year, that's a massive upgrade over players like Nick Martin, who played in 2 games and got hurt, and nobody really knows what his health status is. D. Winters, who was poised for a massive breakout Fred Warner gets hurt and then fell so far, it was like it was a crater to the core of the earth. This is a low risk, really high reward type of deal. And while there is risk, it's really hard to dislike this because we all love Dre Greenlaw out here in the Bay Area.
Absolutely. Look, say what you want about the signing of Dre Greenlaw. I absolutely love this signing. This is what the Niners needed. The defense was never the same after Dre Greenlaw left. D. Winters attempted to kind of fill in his shoes. He fell short mightily. And to me, look, you still got D. Winters for one more year. But I would rather have him backing up Dre Greenlaw. I want his tenacity, his explosiveness. Now, is he going to have that explosiveness? Is he going to have that speed? It's yet to be seen. Now, last year, he went through a number of injuries. He had the quad injury, and then I believe he had one more after that. I think he got suspended as well, but I could be wrong about that. But he missed a significant amount of time with the Denver Broncos, enough to where they kept the guy who replaced him while he was gone and got rid of Dre Greenlaw in order to save themselves some money. Now, when you look at his numbers, right? And this is what I wanted to kind of point out. Okay, so here's PFF Dre Greenlaw, right? Okay, so of course I don't pay for PFF, and mine's all blurred out, like it's it's inappropriate. But no, so his overall grade is 74.8 on a 324 snap count, and he had 25 tackles, right? You can say 25 tackles, that's not a lot, right? But when you compare that to, let's say, D. Winters, he only has a 60.4 rating, ranked 46th out of 88 linebackers. And so Dre Greenlaw, playing less games, had a better rating than D. Winters, who had less snaps, 324 compared to 993 snaps. Is D. Winters a bad player? I don't think so. But to me, he's not nearly as good as Dre Greenlaw. But I think Greenlaw, he makes Fred Warner better. Fred Warner makes Dre Greenlaw better. The pair of them make our defense that much better. And so for me, I'm excited as hell to see Dre Greenlaw come back. Sterling, when it comes to comparing what you're going to get from D. Winters and Dre Greenlaw, would you say that Greenlaw is an upgrade from D. Winters?
100% if he can remain healthy, for sure. You go to last year with the Broncos, he played in 10 games, and that wasn't 10 full games. That was kind of an off and on, albeit there was a large stretch of him being healthy in there. He had the 18th highest overall grade amongst linebackers last year, had the 13th highest run defense grade amongst linebackers at 82.3. It had a 67.1 coverage grade. Now, I know PFF isn't the end-all be-all, but this guy, even if he has lost a step when it comes to coverage and the Achilles and the calf injuries are taking a toll on him, this dude still comes downhill like no other person in the NFL.
Absolutely.
His instincts are high. He's a high IQ player. Sometimes I know he can get maybe a little too excited and get some penalties called on him, but he knows where to be, sniffs out the run, again, as one of the best linebackers in the league. And so to ask if it's an upgrade, yeah, like this is like going from, Reuben Foster, who was like a middling, maybe he'll be something for a year, to Fred Warner, who's like an elite player in year 2. And you're like, oh my God. Like, now Dre has to be healthy. That's just the case. And that's the risk you're going to take. But
yeah,
if he's out there for an elongated period of time as the will linebacker, the Niners have, again, one of the best linebacker duos in football, bar none.
Absolutely. Aaron, would you rather see D. Winters? Would you rather see a different linebacker altogether that they sign out of free agency, or are you happy with Dre Greenlaw being back?
I can't see anybody out there realistically that would have came to the 49ers, that was good enough. The caveat with me with Greenlaw is just the injuries. That's really what it is. Because shoot, man, he never got a chance to run it back. After the Super Bowl, he came in a little bit in 2024, but he was never really in it. You know what I mean? He was in like for one game and that was it. So part of me, the sentimental part of me is like, oh, he's going to get a chance to run it back with Fred one more time. Who knows what happens, right? And to me, it's more of an indictment, I think, that they brought him in and they have a pretty big group of linebackers. None of them really pulled away last year. None of them really showed that they can handle the load. I do expect them. I don't know, Dre or Sterling, if you agree with this. I do expect them to hit linebacker again in the draft, again, to possibly bring in somebody that can be mentored, or again can be part of the solution going forward down the road. Because like him coming in is an indictment on D Winters, on Bethune, on Nick Martin. Yeah, I'm great. I'm happy for it. If he stays healthy, he's pretty damn good and he's pretty physical. And I like his kind of playing a little past the whistle type. I feel like last year we didn't have that. I want to see that kind of come back to this defense. Like the guys we're talking about in the one podcast, you want to have a couple guys that are a little mentally irregular on the team instead of having a bunch of choir boys. He definitely fits that. He definitely fits that when you're checking off, like, is there somebody on the team that's a little bit that has some issues? He definitely checks that box. So yeah, I'm good with it. I'm good with it, but I'm being like I said before in the last comment, I'm being realistic about it.
We got a question here from Gabriel. He writes, do we see a D Winters trade? I believe he's on his last year of his current contract, and maybe we draft a younger linebacker. Sterling, do you think that we see a trade? I say no. I say they stick with the guys they got, but what do you think?
Well, you have to balance, again, going back to that risk of Dre Greenlaw's health. If you trade D Winters, and let's say his value's at around a 5th or 6th round draft pick, this is a bad linebacker class. So you're going to see a run on them at some point on maybe early day 3, late day 2. And you run the risk of, if you're trading away D Winters, getting rid of somebody that has started games for you in the previous couple seasons and does have some potential. Now, how much? That may be dwindling. I don't think it's wise to trade Winters or Nick Martin or somebody else along those lines. I think you want to walk into preseason training camp knowing that guys go down all the time. Dre has had a history of non-contact injuries now with the calf stuff.
I have.
And you know, you'd rather not trade D Winters, not get a linebacker because the draft class is poor, and then go, oh crap, now Dre Greenlaw's hurt, and say, well, Nicholas Martin has concussion problem, and we really don't like Luke Gifford playing Sam linebacker, and nobody else can truly play well, unless they plan to bring in somebody else. Now, if Eric Kendrick comes back this offseason, maybe that changes things. But right now, I don't see them making a trade at all previous to draft day.
And look at this. I mean, Aaron, how does this make you feel? I love seeing this. Like, there's Dre Greenlaw. He's back in the facility. He's signing the contract. He's excited.
The sentimental part of me is very excited. Dude. Yeah. Just because I'm negative about stuff doesn't mean that, like, in my heart, like, I'm always looking at things from a kind of a glass half empty, just because I have to do that for my own mental state. Because if I expect nothing to go wrong and it goes wrong, I can't handle it. So that's why. But in my heart, I love seeing Dre Greenlaw. I'm glad he's back.
I'm so glad he's back.
He's one of the few players that only looks good in a Niners jersey.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't see Kittle wearing a different jersey, Fred Warner doing the same thing.
No.
Like, nope. I've already seen Trenton do it. I've already seen Christian McCaffrey do it. I hope I never see Purdy do it, but like, Dre Greenlaw belongs in the red and gold, and he looks so good in it.
Yeah.
And being a 5th round draft pick, 7 years ago now, really, like, it's very rare you find diamonds like that turn into franchise altering pieces.
Yep.
So to have Dre back, like Aaron said, the sentimental side, the emotional side, the fan side is like, this is fantastic. He never should have left in the first place. Now they get him for a third of the price, and they get a 4th round comp pick back anyways. So overall, good deal for San Francisco in a 2-year process.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great deal for San Francisco, and to me, it's a clear upgrade over D Winters. I think we saw enough of D Winters. I wasn't sold on D Winters. The Niners weren't sold on D Winters. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made this move. If they felt that D Winters was the heir apparent to Dre Greenlaw, that he could carry the weight, this probably wouldn't even be a conversation. But no, the moment he got released, they got on the phones and were like, hey, bro, we want you back. We miss you. We want you. And he was probably like, yeah, let's do this. And he looks extremely happy in this image. Now, everyone had their stuff to say about it. Emmanuel Acho had something to say about it. Other content creators. Let's hear what Dante Whitner had to say about the signing of Dre Greenlaw.
I'm kind of torn on this because when you look at Dre Greenlaw's body of work, he's probably missed over 40% of the games he was actually in the National Football League due to injury. So you have that injury issue again, and you're getting older on defense. But I think nothing solidified on this 49ers defense. I think if Dre Greenlaw can come in 1 year removed and get healthy, I think he's the perfect linebacker to compete with D. Winters. That's how you bring the dog out. You want to bring the dog out of D. Winters? Bring in the guy that he's heard so much about and how Dre Greenlaw used to do it, how he used to take on blocks and the fire that he used to play with and physicality, and you put them in the same room and you see which dog come out alive.
What do you think about that? Do you think there's going to be a competition between Dre Greenlaw and D. Winters? I don't think there will be. I think it's D. Winters. I mean, it's Dre Greenlaw's job to lose. Unless he shows significant signs of slowing down and is not even close to being the player that he was before, I don't see D. Winters reclaiming that starting spot. Sterling, what do you think?
Well, why are we acting like they haven't already been in a linebacker room together before?
Yeah,
exactly.
What are you talking about?
He
Dre
totally
was
lost
here-
sight of that.
Concussions,
Dre
man.
was-
Concussions.
It's a real
Dre was
thing.
here 3 years ago and was coming back 2 years ago, so it's not as if
Is
D. Winters
CTE
hasn't
a real
experienced-
thing?
Like, it's not as if, D. Winters hasn't got to experience the animal that is Dre Greenlaw at a practice before. And I get it. Winters was younger, and now since then has had the chance to start games and has a now full season under his belt of being a starter in the NFL. So maybe there is that of like, look, like maybe you got complacent last year. Maybe mentally you weren't too tough and Drake can push you. We all talk about, how Fred Warner was always in Brandon Ayuk's ear during practice, pushing him, trying to get him to go better. And I know Ayuk isn't maybe in the Niners' best sentiments right now as a fan base, but there is a sense of, Trent and Nick Bosa pushing each other day by day, who can get better, who can iron sharpens iron mentality. So maybe there is a sense of that now that Winters has more playing time, but I do think it's Dre Greenlaw's job to lose. You don't sign a linebacker for $7.5 million and say compete. That's starting level money.
Yeah.
This is Dre Greenlaw's job.
He's a starter.
And if D. Winters plays well, then maybe it makes things tough for them. Maybe it makes them more comfortable having him as the backup or playing Sam linebacker. I'm not sure, but it just seems like they probably want D. Winters to grow a lot this year. And it'll be interesting to see too how Raheem Morris utilizes the linebackers this year. They brought in Nate Hobbs last night. He can play safety and cornerback and nickel. Now you have Dre and D. Winters, which Dre could be that blitzing linebacker, so can Nicholas Martin. Whereas maybe D goes into coverage. And I think there's room for both those guys to play at the same time. In reality, doing what Raheem Morris likes to do. So it makes things more intriguing for sure, but this is Dre Greenlaw's job.
See, I thought that maybe the Niners wouldn't be able to get Dre Greenlaw because I felt like maybe Robert Saleh was going to reach out to him and be like, hey, if you come over here, I'll make you, the Mike linebacker. You'll call the plays. You'll run right my defense. But maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's partnered back up with Fred Warner. I think they're going to wreak havoc on the NFL. But do we think the Niners should try and bring back maybe an Eric Kendricks to back up Dre Greenlaw? I don't think Kendricks comes back unless he's going to be playing. I don't think he wants to come back to be a practice squad player or a backup, but it's possible. Would you rather see Kendricks as the backup to Greenlaw, or would you rather just have him stick with D. Winters and Tatum Bethune and go with the guys that they drafted? Aaron?
And that's a good question. Most of this defense is pretty young. I mean, D-line's pretty young. Secondary is pretty young. A lot of the age is at linebacker. Most of the age is at linebacker. It's tough, man, because Eric Kendricks is a very experienced player. He played pretty solid down the stretch. I mean, he's nothing out of this world. I mean, he's older. It's hard to say, man. I really don't know. Part of me is like, go with Kendricks because of experience and probably because he's better than all the young guys you have in the building.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do you really want to spend money on another older player in the linebacking core when you've already brought in Greenlaw for $7.5 million? So I'm kind of torn on this one, to be honest with you. I'd rather have them find somebody younger around the NFL that maybe could come in if they're going to pay for somebody. But I don't know. I have hope that Nick Martin can become something, but I'm really worried because he didn't recover from his concussion until 2 months after the season. So
yeah,
I'm a little
I have
torn on
about
this
as
one.
much
I really
faith
don't
in
know.
Nick Martin as Jacob Cowing. At this point, if he does it, awesome.
Jacob
If he doesn't, well, it is what it is. Gabriel writes, we had 2 linebackers show up at the end of the season that were sitting on couches and were instantly better than D. Winters. I'm pretty sure we can find a backup if the injury bug bites. And I would agree that, in against the Eagles, Kendricks looked really, really good. Then again, he's a seasoned veteran. It's easier for him to engage in the game and be able to kind of do what he has to do and not let the moment be too big for him because he's a seasoned veterin.
Also has fresh legs too.
Also
Didn't play
had
a whole
fresh
year.
legs. Him and Wallow, that was the one difference that I will say that in the wild card game against the Eagles, Wallow and Kendricks, they looked fresh. They looked full of energy while everybody else had played the entire season, was banged up here and there. Chris Hubner writes, next season we're banking on older players returning from major injuries. I'm hesitant to think Bosa, Warner, Kittle will be as good as they used to be.
Yep.
And then Peter Parker says, hey guys, what do you think about that, Sterling? Let me ask you about that. Do you think the Niners are making the wrong move that they're investing into too many older players, that this is a team that is running the gauntlet of players getting hurt, breaking down because of their age, because of their recent injury, past history? Do we think this is going to be a problem?
The Warner one I'm not too concerned about. They're 1 game away from him coming back. And so that to me isn't a concern. The Bosa having 3 ACL tears, that's scary. It just is. There's a history there. I'm not sure if you guys saw Jabari Parker's knee in that photo yesterday. He's had 17 knee surgeries, and you're like, oh my God, that thing is freaking minced meat.
The basketball player?
Yeah. And so
Jabari Parker, what?
There is some concern that, the more you get cut open, the less likely you do come back. And so your legs either get tired and this, that, and the other.
Tissue, man. Scar tissue.
Right. And, you've heard surgeries of guys having to go get that removed from some of the surgeries or injuries they've had. As Aaron raised his hand, said, I'm one of those people. And so Kittle, I'm also worried too. It's an Achilles tear, albeit not the most egregious one. I guess they get some good news based on placement of it. So yeah, there is that concern. When guys get hurt, no matter the age, and it happens often, it's like, you can even mention and you can put in Dre Greenlaw in that conversation for 1 year and Mike Evans for 1 year.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that the Greenlaw deal is for 1 year only. There is no harm in a 1 year kind of stopgap try to get healthy type of deal. Mike Evans seems like that's a low guaranteed contract for if he's not healthy next year, they can say goodbye for a low cost. So they are signing veteran players to play pivotal roles for them, which is scary in itself because of the age and the injury stuff. But, there also is a chance things work out. Dre is 2 years removed from an injury. Maybe he's better in year. His second coming to the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Evans bounces back from a injury-riddled season last year that had him lose time because of a broken collarbone, was kind of a freak injury. And then maybe Bosa isn't this amazing defensive player of the year type of role anymore, but he's still a solid A- edge rusher. You're in a good spot still. They have plenty of work to do, and they have to find more pieces, but the Niners are banking on second, third, and fourth year players finally living up to potential. And you kind of have to do that when you are retooling. And so I'm all for it, but there are risks that are attached.
I would be okay. I would be okay if they drafted kind of heir apparents to each of the positions that they kind of brought in with veteran players. Like if they went into this draft and brought in and drafted an edge guy, and maybe they drafted another receiver. Trying to think of another place where they added somebody old, but like maybe a
linebacker.
Tight, another linebacker.
You want a long snapper because John Weeks is 40 years old.
Oh my God.
He's really small too. I've never seen a long snapper that little. What is he like?
That's
5'8"?
a Pro Bowl long snapper, mind you.
I mean, real quick, one guy out there who made who I often don't always agree with, Colin Cowherd. I thought he had a really good point though, saying that by signing guys like Mike Evans and bringing back Dre Greenlaw, he said he reminds him of the Golden State Warriors, just bringing back or bringing all these older veteran free agents in. Was kind of like, dude, it's over. Like, you need to rebuild. I still don't think the Niners are at that point yet, but I think they are getting there. So I think this year was the year that, like, hey, if you're going to try and retool this team to be competitive, I think this is the year to do it. Tommy Huxley with the $2 super chat writes, Aaron told me, what?
I don't know what this means.
Told me Grant Cohen's the second coming of Christ.
Aaron's a big fan.
Aaron's a big fan. This is what Aaron would say to that.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
Jerry.
So that's what Aaron would say about the Tommy Huxley comment, but thank you, Tommy, for that. And then Dave McNider writes, what's up, fellas? Tell the injured players to rub some dirt on it and get back out there. That's the same sentiment that Aaron has been pushing since last season. Niner Goat writes, Golden State Warriors didn't make the divisional round without their 3 best players. That's true, but it's a different sport, you know? So let's go to our next topic, which is the acquisition of none other than Mike Evans. Okay, so this is they've never had a receiver this big before. I would imagine Anquan Boldin is the next thing closest to what Mike Evans is in terms of size and height. T.O., thank you. T.O. was amazing.
He's huge.
But we knew he was going to leave too. Sterling, what were your reaction to the signing of Mike Evans as their ex-receiver?
Well, you, like Dre Greenlaw, were pretty spot on the Evans stuff.
I knew it.
You know, it's really hard to dislike it, barring health. That's always going to be the issue, I think, for a lot of the players they brought in this offseason. But how do you not like signing a future Hall of Fame wide receiver to play X for basically 1 year? Like, if it booms,
it's a 3-year deal, though. It's a 3-year deal.
Yeah, but the guarantees aren't very high, so you can say goodbye without a high price to do so. But for at least one season at his age 33 year, like, receivers are playing into their mid-30s nowadays. The elite ones are, especially. And what Mike Evans brings to the table, like, this is an exact attack on how can we beat the Seattle Seahawks. This is exactly what this is. This is, oh my God, we didn't have an X receiver, and it showed up in a big way against Seattle twice. This is what San Francisco's plan is when it comes to, we know we have a tough task beating that Seahawks defense. How do you plan? How do you go against it? How do you scheme against it? Well, getting Mike Evans is, one of the big reasons they believe they're in a good place to beat them next year. And they have plenty of work to do still, but I mean, Mike Evans is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, the age, yes, it's troubling. The injuries last year, sure. But sometimes guys can defy that and they can push past it, and they have one outlier year. And that, to me, does, make me a little more positive towards this, because while the injuries happened last year for Evans, it was 1 year of the 12-year career he's had.
Yeah. And
those things could have been freak injuries, or it's a sign of Father Time's knocking saying, what's up? I'm not sure. But, I'll take a guy that, and this kind of goes into all the guys they brought in so far. Evans, a captain. Greenlaw, a captain for the Broncos last year. Odighizuwa for the Cowboys, also a captain. They're bringing in veteran, captain, high leadership players to infuse in this roster that needs it, that's young at those positions. So I have my hesitations because of the injury stuff, but Mike Evans is tremendous when he's healthy, and one of the best receivers of the last decade and a half.
Chris Hebner writes, Evans has a LeBron hairline. Just to kind of branch off that
Durant's
comment,
hairline.
just to kind of stem off that comment. I posted that. I was like, oh, never a good sight when your star receiver has a receding hairline. And I had a guy come at me saying, oh, if you've done your research correctly, you'd know that he has that receding hairline for the past 5 years. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do my research on receding hairlines. I was like, whatever, dude. So I thought that was funny, but
like, who are you, Jada Smith, and you have alopecia? Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I should have researched that more.
It wasn't a knock.
Sterling just dropped alopecia smack.
Exactly. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the signing of Mike Evans? I mean, this is a guy that in 2024, when he was healthy, He had a 56.25 separation rate against press coverage earlier in the season. I mean, that's really good for a guy that, at his age. But this guy is a talented receiver. He can get himself open. He can high point the ball. What was your take on the signing of Mike Evans?
Once I saw the financials and what it really actually was, I was very hyped. He's been healthy his whole career, other than last year. If you really think about it, like he doesn't have this prolonged injury history like 85% of the 49ers roster does. He's been relatively healthy. I mean, Jerry Rice played good. I would say Jerry Rice from 85 to about 98 was pretty productive, and then after that it kind of started to dwindle. So he definitely can have productive years left. I would love to see him be here for the next at least 2 seasons, as they start to maybe integrate some younger guys. But just based on what he's done, his track record, the fact that he's never really been injured all that much other than last season, and the fact that I've seen Jerry Rice play well into his 30s, I'm pretty stoked about it. Just hope he can stay healthy. That's the caveat for every single freaking thing we talk about. I told my brother today, I was like, anytime you have a 49ers conversation, the first thing you always say is, if they can stay healthy, you have to, because of the situation that it is. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. I like Mike Evans. I was hoping they could have got to him earlier in his career when he was on the, when they re-signed him, the Bucks at one point. I'm like, no, that would be a guy I'd make a trade for. But yeah, pretty stoked.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
As a big guy myself, I like bigger receivers. I don't like small guys. I've always been a fan of the T.O.s and the Randy Mosses and all those kind of, Kelvin Johnson. So that's another thing too. I'm into the big 6'3", 6'4" guys, receivers.
And so, Sterling, let me ask you, when you compare Mike Evans to what we used to have in Juwan Jennings, is this an upgrade?
They're very similar, albeit very different players. Mike is, and I guess so is Juwan. They are the contested catch, go up and get it. I know Mike has better separation than Juwan does, but Mike also is one of those people that has excellent body control in the air, will go up and moss defenders, doesn't matter their size or their arm length. And I think, when you look at the value this deal brings, like, go look at the receiver class and free agency. Pierce gets $28.5 million. Pittman gets 19.6. Wandale gets 19. Romeo Dobbs gets like 20, around 19 again. Shaheed gets 17. Evans gets 14.1. That's half a Brandon Ayuk. That's probably less than what Juwan Jennings has asked for in previous seasons. Now, Juwan's probably a better yak wide receiver if we're kind of getting into their skill sets and whatnot, but it's not like Mike Evans can't equally fill Juwan Jennings' role in the offense, because 30% of his snaps are out of the slot. Like, he'll be a big slot receiver for this Niner team next year, while also being the X5 receiver too. So there's a lot to like. There's a lot to nitpick on, sure, but I think the overwhelming stats would say that, Mike Evans has not played, has not peaked, or at least has not played his best football being behind him yet. He's a guy who even last year for the Bucks in a short stint was still productive, albeit was hurt. And since 2021, Evans has been one of the best route runners in football. He's been one of the better red zone threats in football. 61 targets, 32 receptions, and 161 yards with 24 touchdowns in the red zone. That's over the last 4 seasons. Like, this dude just wants to go up and get the football, and you have a quarterback, which is why everybody wanted to bring back Juwan Jennings, because Purdy high points the football. He lets guys go up there and get it. Hey, I'm going to throw it high. Can you jump and get it for me? And that is Mike Evans. Ultimately, I think if the chemistry with Purdy and Evans clicks, this is going to be freaking awesome next year.
I mean, look, I know I was bragging the other day and saying I called it, but I'm telling you, I knew that they were going to look at Mike Evans because why? Because they saw what Devontae Adams did in Los Angeles. And they said, you know what? That's what we need. We need a perennial red zone threat. We need a guy that as soon as we get in the red zone, all eyes are on him. And now you have to do that with, when they come back healthy, you have to do that against Mike Evans, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's 3 different guys you have to watch out for. Again, the Niners offense just got reloaded with more talent. Now, I still think that the receiver room is a little shallow. I still think they need to get one more receiver in here, but we'll see how that kind of plays out. But they did make a move to bolster their defensive line, and that move was the trade with the Dallas Cowboys to acquire Osa Odighizuwa, an interior defensive lineman.
Kill
What's
that last name. Nice job.
It's my tweet.
Yeah, it's a sterling sweep. And I like this one because, look, it shows in 2025 you had 52 pressures, 3 sacks, and a 13.6 pass rush win rate. In 2024, when he was with Micah Parsons, 60 pressures, 7 sacks, and a 15.1 pass rush win rate. Now you're putting him next to Nick Bosa. So he should be able to replicate those numbers like he did when he played next to Micah Parsons. To me, this is a great move for San Francisco. Another dog on the defensive line. I love this move. Aaron, what was your take on the trade for Osa Odighizuwa?
Pretty stoked. Once you kind of got into his statistics and you see that he essentially was just the odd man out because of, the 2 guys that were in front of him on the depth chart. And you see how many sacks, I think he has 17 career sacks as a DT. And then you see the pressure rate. What was the one thing the Niners lacked last year more than anything was interior pass rush. This guy automatically is your best interior pass rusher, defensive lineman, and it's not even close. And I love CJ West and Collins, but yeah,
still, this guy, you're only paying $20 million a year,
right? And he's not even 30 years old yet.
For the next 3 years.
Yep.
It's like they went out and got Javon Hargrave, but at a cheaper cost, and younger and better, because we've seen what Hargrave he turned out to be. But this is great.
We all wanted the Franklin. Was it Franklin Myers?
Yeah, John Franklin Myers.
John Franklin Myers from the Broncos, but that was going to be a massive contract. And if you look at all the contracts the Niners have really dished out in free agency, they're all 49er friendly. They are Parag. They are Parag Marathe freaking specialties. They look huge, and then when you actually do the numbers on them, you're like, oh, the Niners are paying a 1-year deal, or the Niners are paying mostly incentives. So as much as I hate the Moneyball approach with the 49ers, it's worked. It's worked so far. And dude, he could actually be a long-term player here just based on what he can do, his age, the fact that they got him under contract for 3 seasons. It was a very good move. I was very, it's probably the most exciting move out of every move we've made so far. And that includes Mike Evans, just because of like his youth, what he can do, and the fact he's under contract. So all those are check boxes for me, and doesn't have a huge injury history either. So
to me, this is a significant move because, one, you're adding Odighizuwa to a defensive line that already has Nick Bosa. Then it has Alfred Collins, CJ West, Mykel Williams, a young core of talented defensive linemen. And what else did they do? They trimmed the fat. They got rid of Kalia Davis. They got rid of Jordan Elliott. Brought back Sam O, which I was happy to see because I like Sam O. But to me, they're making this defensive line better.
Brought him back yet.
Well, they tendered him a contract.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
He can still leave.
Yeah, he can still leave. But they got rid of guys like Robert Beal. Gone. He went to the Dolphins. Oh, well. Good luck to you. I hope you have a great career. But Sterling, Osa Odighizuwa, how much of an upgrade is he from what we had last season?
I don't think you can calculate how big of an upgrade he was compared to what they had last season. You go into his numbers. He outperformed Kalia Davis, Jordan Elliott, West, and Collins when it comes to pressures and sacks. He outperformed the 4 starting Niners defensive tackles.
Here are the numbers right here.
It's just insane. In half of the pass rushing snaps.
And this is on a very, very bad Dallas Cowboys defense last season. Now, you got to believe, too, that Matt Eberflus, who they brought over from the Cowboys, probably had a lot to do with this trade as well, saying, hey, this is the guy we got to get. Look, they're loaded with the interior linemen that are making $20 million a year. They got to get rid of some of these guys. So I feel like they had an inside track on making this deal happen. But looking at these numbers, I mean, oh, my God. Last year, which I would even say it was a bit of a down year because the team wasn't very good, he had 3.5 sacks, didn't have Micah Parsons there anymore, so that was a huge letdown, but 3.5 sacks, 23 quarterback hits, 52 pressures, and 420 pass rushing snaps. Our defensive line combined, Elliott, Davis, Collins, CJ West only had 2.5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and 47 pressures, and 969 pass rushing snaps. He outperformed all of them, just like Sterling said. And I think when you look at these numbers, this tells you everything you need to know about why they made this move. But not only that, yes, they give a third-round pick, but they're only paying him $20 million a year for the next 3 seasons. This is a great move for San Francisco. Sterling, go ahead.
I was going to say, we saw what San Francisco did last year, right?
Look at that face. Look at that face.
Got these long, lengthy defensive linemen to clog running lanes. And, sometimes you have to question, what is the arm length? What is the hand size of an interior defensive tackle? Because sometimes those guys have shorter arms. Maybe they're bigger guys that have bigger hands, but he's a very unique blend of size because he's 6'2", 280 pounds. That is not a very big player. That's an average height guy and probably an undersized defensive tackle. However, he has 34.25-inch arms and 10.75-inch hands. This dude has like a very awkward yet really good build to where, while his run defending needs some help, like there is a lack of play strength because he's a smaller dude. He has a 2.5% missed tackle rate. Like that is unheard of for a player his size, but the length he has makes up for it. He had the 6th most pressures last year amongst defensive tackles. He's somebody who I think just jumps off the page and you just go, wow. Like for the price they got him at, around $16.75 million on a cap hit this year with no guaranteed money past the season.
Yes.
Again, going back to that kind of 1-year deal thing where Mike Evans really is technically kind of a 1-year deal that can give you 3 if it works out. Greenlaw is a 1-year deal. Odighizuwa is also a kind of a 1-year contract. If it works out for you and you like the guy and he's a great person in your room, then you extend him or you redo his contract, lower the cap hits next couple of years, and you call it a day. And you have a really great pass rusher on the interior, which it's funny because you could really read the tea leaves of they're going to do something. They reportedly offered $20 million a year for John Franklin Myers. And the Titans said, we'll give you 21. And he said, okay, I'll go Tennessee.
Not only that, but they gave him $42 million guaranteed. And so I think when he saw that number, he was like, oh, okay, I'm going to Tennessee, guys. Let's go. The Niners probably didn't want to commit that much guaranteed money to John Franklin Myers. Is Franklin Myers really good? Yeah, he's really good. And he would have made a huge difference on this D line. But $42 million guaranteed, that's a lot to commit to one player. And so, again, they're making the right moves at the right time, and it's benefiting them. Now, one could argue that the Mike Evans deal was a very team-friendly deal. And let me ask you guys, do you think that deal was made so that they could still acquire more players? Or do you think that that's what his value was? To me, I think he's like, no, I'd rather sign this deal because I want you guys to go out and get more players because I want to win a Super Bowl. Sterling?
Go
ahead.
Oh, Aaron, go. Hey, you
yeah, go, Aaron.
It was made known in his presser that, or a lot of people are saying that the money wasn't the most important thing to him.
Yeah.
That he wanted to come to a team that had a chance to do something. He speaks very highly of the fact that we played well with all the injuries last year. He spoke very highly of Brock Purdy. I think he's made enough money in his career that now he's at a point where it's like, I'm willing to take less money to go be on a team that has a chance to make a playoff run and do something. And I think that's why they were able to acquire him. Money wasn't his ultimate goal. Whereas a guy like Alec Pierce, a lot younger, probably never had that kind of earth-shattering, life-changing money. Of course he's going to take the biggest, fattest contract. Same thing with Franklin Myers, guys like that. So I think it was just a perfect storm. As a guy that's done a lot in this league, made a lot of money, wants to try something different, wants to, test the waters in San Francisco. And the Niners, they are what they are. They have their numbers, and they're not going to move off those numbers. And either you sign with them and take what they're offering, or they say, go get more money somewhere else. And so it just worked. I think it was like the perfect storm essentially for the 49ers. So I'm happy.
Yeah, it does seem like that the Niners, Aaron's right in the sense that this is a perfect storm in regards to Mike Evans, because he's a player that felt not disrespected by the Buccaneers, but they kind of treated him like he was retiring, that he was past his prime. They get a receiver in the first round, and they're probably right in that regard. Like, I'm not expecting Evans to walk in and put up 100 catches for 2,000 yards, right? It's crazy to think that way. But if Mike Evans can give you 70 receptions for 800 yards and 7 touchdowns, and be a true X threat that opens up the offense, it's a great deal. And I think that, for the bargain they got him for, it's a no-brainer. Like, Mike Evans turned down the chance to go back home to Tampa Bay because he wanted to play for San Francisco. Yeah. He turned down a chance to play for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, albeit it's cold weather. That's a championship caliber team out there. They probably should have won that game against the Broncos. And so
I can't believe
right. And so it does feel as if the Niners are striking all the right chords at the right time. This has been a very beneficial and I think overall great offseason on paper, at least for John Lynch, for the reset they had last year to now the guys they brought in this year. It's like the vision really is coming into place where most Niner fans ended last year bitter and angry and questioning, what next season looks like. I think now the vision is very clear. Like we now understand what 2026 can be for them, and it's a really, really good football team. And it's pre-draft. Like they have 6 more picks to make.
And we might make another with the money we got back today for injury insurance. Who knows? Maybe we make another move. My thing too is like, and I totally just lost my train of thought. So the prediction I made was we were doing nothing in free agency, right? I got some heat in the comments about 5 minutes ago. I'm okay eating crow on that. In a way, I feel like I manifested it because I reverse psychology the whole thing, and look what happened. Boo, yeah, boo me. So you guys could really, in a way, you got to thank me. That we're making a move in free agency.
Explosion as well. There we go. Hit rock bottom.
Sorry. I don't know. I think Lori Matthews was like, your prediction was wrong. I'm like, you're right, it was.
Well, you brought up the fact that the Niners are going to, gain a bunch of money. Let's talk about that real quick. We know that the Niners, that was announced today, the Niners will receive about $20.6 million savings towards the cap due to their insurance policies they took on injured players. So that's going to help. And they still have some more needs to address. Now, will they do that through free agency? It's yet to be seen how they're going to spend their money. But we do know that they brought in another player last night, Nate Hobbs. His name is Nate, right? Yeah, Nate Hobbs. And he is a nickel corner that played for the Packers last season, had a down year, but did play for the Raiders before that. And this guy essentially was brought in to replace what's his face? The guy they just let go. I'm blanking right now. Damn it.
Jason Pinnock?
Chase Lucas.
Chase Lucas.
Or
thank
Jason
you. Because Jason Pinnock was a safety, also a corner, but Pinnock, he's gone. He went back to New York. But Chase Lucas was the backup nickel cornerback. And we saw him late in the season. To me, he did not look very good late in the year. Overplaying, couldn't make tackles, bad in coverage. Now we got a guy who's actually really good against the run in Nate Hobbs, and this is a guy that's going to replace Chase Lucas. What'd you guys think of this signing? I thought, again, this is another quality signing for San Francisco. Sterling?
Yeah, you can say it's them replacing Chase Lucas, and in some ways it is because he does play special teams and he does play nickel. However, I would say that he is probably going to play a lot next year. Now, maybe that's on paper, but I think Green and Stout and Lenore are your starters unless Green is terrible again or at least has a down third season. But Hobbs does have high potential. I think he's a good player that can play safety. He can play in the box. He can play nickel. Like, he can do all these things. He's a great run defender. He does give them some length on the inside as a nickel corner, and to a point where I wouldn't say he's replacing Chase Lucas. I think he's replacing Jason Pinnock, where they move Pinnock to play big nickel and play safety a lot. They want the in-the-box guy, and you've seen Raheem Morris play 2 nickels at a time. And I think that can benefit them a lot against teams like the Rams, and having a bigger body out there. And really, if you want to go deeper into it, if you don't like Jair Brown, then why couldn't Hobbs take his spot too? So I don't know how much he'll start, but this is a guy that signed a $12 million a year contract last season. You don't do that unless you're worth it, right? And so I like it. Do I love it? But I think it can pay off if it works out for them. And you're seeing, again, like every other guy, he was hurt last year, and they're banking on a 1-year deal, him being a really good player and probably being a comp pick for them in 2 years' time.
I know somebody just said that the Jennings signed with the Chargers. I haven't seen confirmation of that. I know Ricky Scoops posted that, so I'm not going to take that with any kind of accuracy whatsoever. But I know we did sign Luke Gifford. He's a Pro Bowler for special teams. As long as he doesn't take the field as a linebacker or in coverage, I think we'd be in good shape.
Know your role.
But I like the signing of Nate Hobbs. I thought that was good to kind of fill in that spot. But again, Niners still have some holes they have to fill. Bryce Huff announced his retirement at the age of 27. And that was kind of unforeseen. It was like, oh, okay, I guess he's not going to be here next season. He's going to retire and do something else. So with the loss of Bryce Huff, we know that we need another pass rusher, another edge rusher on opposite Nick Bosa. We still need to get that. We still need probably an upgrade at safety as well. I mean, I don't know if they feel comfortable going with Jair Brown again. I don't think so.
I hope not.
I hope not. But I feel like they are. I feel like they feel like this guy's good. And not to say he's a bad player. I'm just saying, like, they seem to have they kind of have the, well, I mean, in comparison to, you know, people in the world, but they kind of have that same feeling for Jake Brendel as they do for Jair Brown. Kyle likes him. Lynch likes him.
At least Brendel was a second-team All-Pro 1 year. Jair Brown ain't never sniffed that in his entire life.
And I don't see why they're so big on him. So that is an area.
Super Bowl.
Well, it's true.
That's an area that they could look to improve in the draft. I think that's where they're going to try and improve the safety positions in the draft, because they let every veteran safety that was out there, they're all gone. All the good ones are gone. I thought Nick Cross was the guy they were going to look into. Gone.
I wanted Brisker.
Berserker, gone. You know, even Pinnock, gone. You know, so
sucked.
He sucked, but he was a big guy.
I wanted Jalen Hawkins big time.
Yes, you were posting
so
all about that.
God, he was so good. He went to the Ravens, I think.
But still, they didn't want to make the move at safety. I feel like that's a position they feel like they could either draft or find somebody cheap, and kind of like the offensive line, they don't want to invest a ton of money into the safety position.
Which is crazy, because Raheem Morris values safety a ton. It made it the point to go out there and draft Xavier Watts and sign Jesse Bates to a massive contract with the Falcons. So I don't know if that's being passed down from John and Kyle of like, we don't invest in safety, but would you be shocked if round 1 it's Thanaman from Oregon or it's McNeil Warren from like Toledo? Like I would not be shocked in round 1.
Not at all.
Safety. I really would not be shocked at all.
Do you think maybe they have? Maybe they're thinking Marquise Siegel's going to take a second year jump?
Possibly, but in coverage he wasn't all that good.
He wasn't.
He's also best suited as a nickelback. He's not a safety. Now maybe he grows, but it's like,
no, I got you.
Again, another horrible running back draft, according to Cowboy Chipdale. I know Sterling has similar sentiments that this is not a very good running back draft class. So again, you know, should the Niners spend more money and bring back a Brian Robinson Jr. to be the backup to Christian McCaffrey? Was that something that you guys liked, or do you think, hey, let's go in a different direction, let's try Jordan James, let's see what else is out there? Rashad White got signed for peanuts. And I thought that would have been a good signing. Gainwell would have been a good signing. Both are good receiving running backs, and both of them are off the board. So what do they do in terms of their backup running back? Do you think they go with Robinson, or do they go look for that in the draft?
I don't think they're going to draft a running back. You have no reason to. You have Jordan James. There is some semblance of Isaac Guerrero. I don't know what happened to him.
Isaac Guerrero.
I also think what Shanahan's been able to get out of UDFAs or kind of the free agent sign, like they brought back Patrick Taylor Jr., who I know isn't a great player, but he's a fine guy that can actually give you something.
He's a
fine guy as like your third or fourth running back. And obviously you want to have that number 2 next to McCaffrey. And it's funny because McCaffrey has made it known of like, I would really appreciate having a guy back. And
this is the first time he said that. This is the first time he's finally voiced that concern of like, hey, I really like having the guy who can step up and help me out here.
And I think he's pretty aware of his surroundings of I'm nearing 30 and I have a ton of tread on my tires. So yeah, go bring back Brian Robinson for a 1-year deal, like $3 million, put him back there and to see what works out. It also gives you versatility to utilize Taylor and Guerrero and Robinson as your return men too, because Sky Moore is now gone. So it's like you want to have that versatility. And I think bringing back Robinson for a cheap 1-year deal is no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I'm totally on the same page. Get a UDFA, bring back Robinson, call it a day. And you have Jordan James in the building. Like, this is the one draft where they cannot afford to go waste a pick on a running back.
Oh, we have somewhat of breaking news, albeit not Niner related. Hold
on. Breaking news.
After serious conversations with the Rams and Patriots, the Eagles will not trade A.J. Brown at this time. Both teams remain interested, but no move is imminent. If a trade were to happen, it'd be closer to June 1st, per Diana Rossini, who always makes things up about A.J. Brown. So we'll see if that's true or not. But not going to be a Ram.
This is my reaction.
That energy out there.
This is my reaction to that news.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care. Jerry.
I don't care. The whole A.J. Brown thing is so stupid. I'm so over it. Even the Jalen Carter thing, I was all amped up on that. Like, hey, they could make a move. They're not going to trade.
Mike said that though. This is the gaslighting season. Like there's a lot of people. Like I told you guys, I told this to Mike. Like there's people that make 49er content that have 49er pages. Literally every player, the Niners. I must have saw a tweet one time from the same person on 6 different players where like the 49ers of interest. The 49ers, we hear the 49ers, and it's like, dude, they gaslight us into thinking we're going to make all these moves, and then none of them happen. So like I said, I went negative, and it backfired on me. So I'm going to do that again from now on in the future. So, but yeah, stop gaslighting us, people.
I don't think they're gaslighting; they're lying for content's sake.
They are lying for content.
Probably. All right. So looking at the needs of this team, where do you think they need to address next? May it be defensive end, edge rusher, another receiver, a safety? If you're John Lynch, what is your first priority in free agency at this point? Where do you address or where do you go to try to fill these needs? Sterling, where do you go if you're John Lynch?
Yeah, I think it's tough because you don't want to, like, there's no real starting safeties out there on the market anymore. So safety's gone. That is a draft day issue. I think running back's interesting. We already mentioned Brian Robinson. That can make some sense. I would really like to trade Mac Jones still, but he has no suitors, and that seems like it's done and over with. So we'll wait and see how that works itself out. Maybe something happens on draft day. I'm not banking on it happening, though. But in free agency, it seems like their best options are to go to edge rusher and maybe look at a running back, and that's kind of it. Now, I know Deebo Samuel's out there and Jawan Jennings is out there. The team does want to carry over some cap space in the next year, so it really feels like that they're probably going to add one more edge rusher because you have to, just because you need to. And I'm sure you're both thinking the exact same name I am, and unfortunately, I don't want it to be this case, but Are we going to be shocked by next weekend when they sign Joey Bosa? Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like we're not going to be shocked at all.
I
mean,
mean,
it's a 1 year, $11 million deal, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
But here's the thing, though, is he going to go with that route? Because last year we thought, oh, it's going to happen. It's a done deal. Like, they're going to sign him any day now. And then he went to freaking Buffalo for how much? Like, $17 million? What?
He wasn't great.
No, he wasn't.
He was just all right.
One Bosa on the roster is enough. I don't need.
I like this from Strawberry. This is a great one. Oh, Bosa, Osa, Bosa.
It's true.
On the line. Oh, my God.
Drinking mimosa.
B.A. Jones writes, not going to complain. You need as many defensive line as possible. Look, if the Niners were to go out and get Joey Bosa, would I be mad? No. I'd say, hey, you know what? At least we got another defensive end. You can still draft one as well. Even if, what is his name? Zion. Help me, Sterling.
Zion Young from Missouri?
Yeah, from Missouri. Even if Zion Young was out there, I would still draft him. Even if I signed Joey Bosa. Because, I mean, he's not a for sure thing. He's not a long-term solution. So you could still do that. But I definitely see this becoming a reality sooner rather than later. So Sterling says edge rusher is where he would try to address first. Aaron, what about you? If you're John Lynch, what area of concern are you looking to address first?
You got to bring back Thomas Morstead, right, Aaron?
Hell no.
Get that punter locked up.
No. He's poopy. I don't like him. Neither does Mike. I'm down with Mike on that one. Safety market's pretty much dried up. And I don't see a left guard out there that they're going to bring in that's going to be any better than what we have in the building. So, yeah, edge rusher. Sterling, you talked about Grenard, and that would be a trade.
Grenard.
Yeah.
That team interest, he actually interests and excites me more than anybody. One, because he's younger, and two, that, he's kind of under the radar and he's productive. Do you think a team offensive line, Jesus Christ, do you think a team would be like the Vikings would they be okay with like a 2027 pick for a guy like Grenard? Or is it specifically going to have to be this year?
I think you can get him for a 4th round pick, to be honest.
The report was that they wanted the 2nd and more. Now, maybe that's a 4th rounder this year and a 3rd next year. Next year's class is better than what this year's is. So maybe there is some point to that. But they also have Kyler on a 1-year deal and McCarthy sucks. So I don't know what the future is planned for them. There's a real chance Brian Flores is a head coach elsewhere too. Like they may be kind of redoing things. So to your point, Aaron, they may want a pick next year. But I think it may cost you a pick this year and next year to get that done.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the Niners want to bring in $19 million in cap hit this year. That seems like a bad thing, at least on paper. Maybe that changes. But I do think that trading more draft picks feels ill-advised after the Odighizuwa trade. So I probably would.
Who's on the market, though, at edge rusher right now? I
don't know, but
we got Joey Bosa, Leonard Floyd, Anthony Jennings, Josh Pascal, Hassan Reddick's out there still. A bunch of veterans past their prime, basically, or like untapped potential type dudes that
Leonard
aren't going
Floyd
to change much. Yeah,
the return. We also got some breaking news here. We got some video of Kyler Murray working out. There he is. You can see he's really putting in the work, getting ready to throw the ball deep to Justin Jefferson. There we go.
Hey, he got deep in the squat. To give him credit, that was a deep squat.
He's got some tree trunks going on there, man.
So he's putting in the work. There's so many memes for Kyler Murray.
Dude,
it's good.
One of my buddies, when he was drafted, created a meme or a GIF or whichever. It was a meme, and it was like Kyler Murray on a chair getting his jersey next to the commissioner in like a really small suit, almost like the guy from Fantasy Island, the smaller guy that was on there.
The plane.
Yeah. It was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like a little squashy version of him accepting his draft jersey standing on a chair. I thought that was great.
There was that picture of Justin Jefferson, and it was like Justin Jefferson standing next to his new quarterback, Kyler Murray. All you see is the top of Kyler's head. He's so short. Okay, so we know about that, and there are some more things I want to address about the Niners. But real quick, I just wanted to kind of break to this because I thought it was so crazy. Aaron, I want your take on this because it affects you directly. Baltimore backed out on your trade. So this was so shocking of a move. And, you know, the Ravens were like, you know, we actually wanted Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson, which I think is fucking bullshit. And I think really they said, wait a minute, guys, we can sign Trey Hendrickson and we keep our 2 first-round picks. What are we doing? Someone brought that up and said, no, what are we doing, guys? Come on. And they were like, all right, fuck it, just back out of it. I don't care. That was my take on it, is that they got buyer's remorse and cold feet, and they backed out of it knowing they can get him and keep their first-round picks. Aaron, what happened?
I have no
You
idea.
failed the physical, man.
Yeah, I failed the physical. My knee was bad, shoulder. They did a CT scan of my brain that also had some problems. You know what's funny though? The dream is still alive, Dre. Maybe one day he comes to us and then we can do me wearing the jersey. I know it's never going to happen, but
I told him, okay, so I told Aaron, I said, Aaron, if any way possible, if the Niners somehow, by stroke of God, if they land Max Crosby, I was like, you have to buy the jersey, and then Sterling and I have to have you on the show, and we're going to interview you as Max Crosby while you're wearing the jersey.
And then I told Dre, I said, the only thing is, as soon as I speak, they're going to hear the Muppet voice that I have, and they're going to be like, that's not him. That can't be him. He sounds like a Muppet.
Sterling,
we can modulate it. You're fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll make the adjustment in post. But Sterling, what happened here? This was a done deal, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, never mind. And not only that, but now the Raiders are like, well, you know what? I think we're going to keep him. But how can they when they've gone and they've blown their wad and spent all their fucking money, and they're like, oh shit, now we got to make room for $30 million of Max Crosby. Oh shit. Are they going to cancel some of these contracts?
No, I think they have the cap space to get it done. They'll move
They
money
have
around.
a lot of cap space. They have like 180 million, I want to say, or something like that.
Like they are fine when it comes to money. It is funny though. Like this set the table for free agency. This was like the big
it really did.
move. And I'm sure a lot of teams, the Dallas Cowboys included, were like, okay, like we have to adjust accordingly. And then 2 days later, they were like, never mind, we're out. And it's like, wait, what? This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. The Ravens screwed the Raiders in a big way, and I'm not too mad about that, quite frankly. But I also think the Ravens made the smart move. They really did. Like, I know everyone's hating on them and saying, well, the Ravens are bad and they did bad business. And like, I'd much rather have 2 first-round draft picks and Trey Hendrickson than Max Crosby and lose my 2 first-round draft picks. Like, They made the better move for the organization. So, you know, I can't hate it.
I just think it was one of those cases where, like you said, buyer's remorse, you get the excitement of free agency, the excitement of the offseason, and want to be that team that makes the big move that sets the tone. Either way go, guys, we don't have to worry about him playing for the Rams. That was my biggest fear. Because I talked to you and I talked to other people.
It's still a possibility.
It's true.
If anyone's going to get him, I would say the Rams would be the one to give up the most to get him, knowing that this might be Stafford's last year.
Exactly. And I said that about what the A.J. Brown thing is, A.J. Brown move too, is like the Rams really, when it comes to anybody on the market, they're always in it. But yeah, it was really strange how like they backed out on it.
That was weird.
Why not just make the move that you did in the beginning? That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. And then they try to put out a rumor that it was a failed physical, which is also really bad.
No, I'm like 95% sure he did fail a physical.
It just gave them a reason to back out. And so they were like, well, you did fail the
problem is like each team has different like protocols and like percentages you have to meet for a physical. So the Ravens physical isn't the Niners. It isn't the Raiders physical. But on top of that, he was never supposed to be healthy at this point in time. So
Right,
they
yeah.
knew and
They
agreed
knew.
to the terms when he wasn't healthy and said 2 days later, "Oh, you're not healthy? Never mind." Like they didn't know that was already the case.
They compared it to when the situation with Drew Brees when then Dolphins were going to sign him, and then they didn't like the medicals or they didn't like the physical, and they passed
Yeah.
according to the way like you said, the way the Dolphins did things, and they ended up signing Culpepper instead, and then he ended up going to the Saints, and of course he's a legendary quarterback, Hall of Famer. He's definitely suffering from it now. If you listen, he's got a lot of physical issues in that arm, but yeah, you're right. Some teams just have a different what they look for in physicals. I just think it's funny, like you said, like the whole thing with a meniscus tear, like he's had a certain date that he was going to be ready by. So it's kind of weird that they didn't pass him on it, but they kind of already knew that he wouldn't be ready to go.
Yeah,
at
it
this
was
point
just
in time.
it
So.
gave them a reason to back out of the contract once they knew that they can get Hendrickson and keep their 2 first-round picks. If you wanted to have both those players, you would have made it happen. You would have kept both those players, and they didn't. So the fact that they're like, "Oh, we wanted to do both of them," I don't believe it. I know his wife was in the facility when they were talking to them. They were talking to her about having the 2 of them together, but again, smoke and mirrors. Like, how do we save our reputation? Well, let's make sure we tell them too, like we're really going to do this, and we're not. It's funny, you guys, while we're having this conversation, my brother literally sent me this. He literally just sent me this. I was like, oh my God. Kyler Murray back for pass he's so tiny. Why is he so small? I don't get it.
I also don't know why people think the Vikings are now like the best team in the NFC North.
Thank you. Everyone's
Like,
like,
they're
hey,
not
if
good.
Kyler's on, this team can make a difference. Make some noise.
like-
I don't believe
It's
so.
like we've seen Kyler in the exact same offense minus a little bit of differences than what he was in the Cardinals. Like it's the exact same offense, the Shanahan over the middle stuff, and that Kyler isn't good at that. Their defense should be good, but they're also shaving salary like crazy. And they have like no draft picks. So it's like the Vikings aren't going to be good. They'll have a better quarterback for sure, but it's like the Lions should be better. The Bears have gotten way better this offseason. And then of course the Packers are the Packers. Like the
They made
Vikings
some
are
good
probably
moves.
the worst. The Vikings are probably the worst team there still.
Yeah. I mean, they got draft picks for Rashawn Gary. The Packers did. I thought that, that was they didn't have to get that, but they did because the Cowboys were like, oh, take him, please.
As Max
What do
Crosby. Same thing. Like,
We need somebody. So earlier I asked you guys where they should address. Okay, obviously, yes, I feel like edge rusher, they should definitely address that. Safety, you got to address it. But to me, I don't know. It still feels like there's one more move they got to make. Edge rusher would be number 1. Number 2 move, bring back Deebo Samuel.
Oh God!
Let's
please
get the
no.
band back together.
No.
Let-
Uh,
Let's get the band back together and let's win this thing.
oh, we scared him off camera. No way.
Strike up the band.
not the music. Not the pig in a pickle.
Pig in a pickle.
That's great.
I love how he just uses the stock StreamYard music every stream.
I thought he made that himself.
No,
That's crazy.
when he first started streaming on YouTube, he started playing that, and I was like, "Wow, he's utilizing the stock music. That's interesting." And he
That's crazy.
continues to use it. I was like, "Man,
Hey man, it works. It works.
Hey,
Like
Deebo
he
Samuel.
discovered it for the first time, and he's like, "Oh my God, I have music."
and of all the things."
Larry loves the gong too. He loves the gong sound effect.
Oh, you know what? I didn't download that one. I forgot why.
Come on, man. You gotta get
know.
the gong.
I gotta get the gong. I don't even
Yeah,
see
to
it.
start using sound
but
effects.
no to Deebo Samuel. No,
Bro, what? No, yeah.
keep it away. Here it is.
But here's my argument for Deebo Samuel. I know everyone's like, oh, no Deebo, no Deebo, no Deebo, no Deebo, no Deebo, no Deebo. There was a post. I don't even know if it was real or not. You know, if I see something, I'm just gonna fucking run with it. Where it said Deebo. I think it was a joke. When I read it back, when I read it to myself, I'm like, this had to have been a joke. It was like Deebo Samuel wants to go somewhere where he's gonna be fed.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a joke. because I was going to reply with it like, hey, maybe he should skip a few meals. But here's the thing. I still think that if he came back to San Francisco, he sees Dre Greenlaw coming back. He sees the moves that they've already made. I could see him being like, all right, I'll come back because you know what? Let's do it. We have unfinished business. And you know what? If Deebo Samuel is your number 3 receiver, I would almost feel more confident with Deebo Samuel as my number 3 receiver instead of Jacob Cowing or Jordan Watkins or even DeMarcus Robinson.
Or Princess.
Well, he's your number 2.
He's your number 2.
Oh.
So, Sterling, if someone were to ask you if you're in charge of the team, Sterling Bennett runs the Niners right now, and they said, hey, we can get Deebo back for a 1-year contract as your number 3 receiver. He's also a gadget guy. Do you go that route, or do you say, no, we can draft. We could probably get a KC Concepcion, maybe Omar Cooper Jr., not Omari Cooper Jr., which I thought that's who that was. I thought, man, that's crazy as a kid already. No, Omar Cooper Jr. Do you think that they should look to the draft to add in receiver, or should we take a risk and bring back Deebo Samuel and get the band back together again?
Look, the way I've kind of put things together, it seems as if the Niners are going to go edge or defensive line in round 1 and then go receiver in round 2. That just seems right. I know they've had and talked to Chris Bell out of Louisville. They talked to Omar Cooper Jr. And I think they need the underneath yak guy on the offense. And I think you got to get younger. Like
he can't run routes.
He can't. And if you want to sign Mike Evans, who'll be 33, and you want to get Dre Greenlaw in here, then you have to utilize the draft, like Aaron said earlier, at similar positions, right? So you have Pearsall, who's coming into year 3, where soon you're going to have to ask and kind of answer the question of, do you want to give him that 5th-year option, right? The answer now is no, clearly. So draft a receiver now in a really deep receiver class, whether it's Cooper or Boston or somebody else along the lines, and get him in here while Mike Evans is also here too. That to me is important. And so, no, I would not bring back Deebo Samuel. Now, I don't know exactly who's out there at receiver right now. I'm looking on Spotrac, so forgive me.
I was going to say, I can tell you're looking at another monitor
I'm
because you're frozen.
Let's see if am I still frozen now?
No.
Okay. So like Tyreek Hill's out there, Christian Kirk's out there, Darnell Mooney's out there. Like there are some names you can like.
What did you just say? You said Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I'm just saying names.
Tyreek Hill, Aaron. That's your boy.
But there are some names there that could make some sense, and I would preferably rather have
Deebo.
Yeah, I think people don't like the way that Deebo ended in San Francisco over his production.
And look, I think that they will. I think they will because why? Because Kyle Shanahan loves Deebo Samuel. Their relationship didn't sour. His relationship with the team and fans is what soured. And so he made an ass of himself. They had a team meeting, or they had a meeting with him, and he was the one that said, I think it's best to trade me. He was the one who wanted to get traded. John Lynch made the comment, we're not in the business of trading good players. So Lynch and Shanahan, they didn't want to lose Deebo Samuel. So given the chance to bring him back, especially if it's a 1-year deal, I think they would absolutely do it. And
I also wouldn't hate Marquise Brown, who has some speed. I know he hasn't been the best receiver, but like on a 1-year, like $4 million deal, get you some speed on the offense.
Julio Jones? What
the heck?
No, he's too old.
You want
as a coach?
Like Braxton Berrios, Marquez Valdez-Scantling again.
Oh, God.
You can go get Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett. Shepard. There we go.
Julio Jones still plays?
No, he doesn't. At least I hope not. Maybe in the rec league, not in the NFL.
Lori Matthews writes, Dre, you're not talking anyone into this. And look, if they don't get him, I'm not going to lose any sleep. But it wouldn't surprise me if they if they worked out a deal and brought him back. And this is kind of like a late free agent signing where they're like, Deebo Samuel's going to come back. I thought by Wednesday it would be out. But looks like I'm wrong. I don't see a market for Deebo Samuel. If you're another team out there in the NFL, what other team is like, hey, why don't we try Deebo Samuel? I just don't see it. Maybe the Chargers?
Cardinals?
No, the Cardinals are a wreck. Who's their quarterback right now?
Raiders make sense for Deebo.
The Raiders, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Cardinals are looking at they're looking at either Jimmy Garoppolo or possibly Kirk Cousins. I mean, they're up shit creek right now. Like they have no real good option at quarterback.
Jimmy Garoppolo twice a year, and
the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo's name is even coming up in conversations about them signing him as their starter, that's rough. That's like the Niners when they signed Brian Hoyer. It was like,
he's so lazy. He loves being a backup quarterback and not having to play. Like, if there's one person that is okay being a backup and never playing and making money, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. That man does not care about football. He cares about getting paid, and he cares about the ladies. That's it.
Amen, brother. We all same. Same.
Okay, I'm gonna throw one more name at you.
That.
I'm gonna throw out one more name towards you guys, and let me know what you think about this player. Recently got released.
Oh God.
L'Jarius Sneed.
No.
He terrorized the Niners in the Super Bowl.
So bad.
He terrorized them.
That is the epitome of Bill Walsh and Belichick trading away guys that were just about to be past their prime, and then they get him for a 5th-round pick or a 3rd-round pick, and then they suck for the other team, and they come back to you 2 years later. No, he's terrible. He's terrible.
Is this a San Francisco Giants move, Sterling? If they were to get this guy,
Giants?
You know, is this like bringing back Rich Aurilia, where you're like, well, or
Hunter Pence, Aurelia, Pablo Sandoval for the 3rd time,
a Ryan Klesko?
Hey man, John Bowker. You want a Brett Pill action right here?
Brett Pill.
Kershaw.
Brian Horwitz.
Hey man, sign me up.
Cody Ransom. So you would say no to this?
I would actively jump off a bridge if they did it. He's that bad.
Oh boy.
I'd rather have Deebo than L'Jarius Sneed.
Personally, I have not followed L'Jarius Sneed since he left Kansas City, so I couldn't tell you if he was having a good season or not. But
the rebuilding Titans said, get out. What does that tell you?
Well, they're paying him a ton of money. They were like, we're not going to pay you that money. We're going to let you go.
They just signed a bunch of guys to a ton of money. And they said, still leave. Get out. You're not good enough.
Yeah, they did.
He was a product of Spags.
Yes.
Remember Larry Brown on the Cowboys had the great Super Bowl pick 6 on Neil O'Donnell, and then somebody went and signed him after
the Raiders,
and he was ass cheese.
The Raiders signed back-to-back Super Bowl MVPs.
Sometimes guys are just better for a specific coordinator, and then they get completely exposed once they go into a team who's running it. I mean, 49ers when they signed not RW McQuarters, Antonio Langham.
Yeah,
great player when he was on the Browns, and then he came to the 49ers and he was
RW McQuarters. I mean, last year L'Jarius Sneed for the shitty Titans had a overall PFF grade of 50.4. That ranks him 105th out of 114 cornerbacks. Now, he may have been injured. I've been looking at the games played. He had 0 interceptions. He did play in 361 snaps, about as many as Dre Greenlaw, so I'm sure he had some injuries, but he's 29. Maybe you take a shot. Probably not.
No, if you're going to take a shot on anybody, if they were on the market,
you just signed Hobbs. You already have you have Brown, Siegel, Mustafa, and you have Saran Neal. Now you just brought in Hobbs. You have your 5 safeties right there, and you may draft 1 too. Like, you don't need them at all. All
right, we have some more breaking news here. Holy shit. This is coming from inside the Vikings locker room. Let's go to it right now.
Who let this fucking dwarf into my locker room? Please don't hurt me, JJ.
I'm laughing.
Short bitch.
Okay. I didn't know it had that much profanities in it.
Oh my God. Somebody has way too much time on their hands.
Jesus Christ. That is not an endorsement by anybody on this show.
I think it's hilarious though. And then, well, Sterling, you posted these as well, but the Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner images, those are great to see. Here's a collage of them.
Aww.
And he was there when he signed. He was excited.
Aw.
Very good. Very, very good stuff. Okay, so
He said, "My boo."
So we've been talking about this for a while now,
really
and everyone in the chat has been chattering about this, and I got to bring it up because yes, chat, I do read what you're saying. I am paying attention. The offensive line. I mean, they're trying to work on a contract with Trent Williams, but what is the solution at left guard? Is it really going to be Toth, however you say his last name, and Ben Barch? Is that the answer? And then they signed, what's his face? The guy from the Patriots.
Backup tackle,
Backup.
wing guy.
Now, do I like the signings? Yeah, I like the signings because they're adding more depth and experienced offensive linemen. That's good. They're not relying on a Connor Colby, a rookie, to be your depth piece. But what's the answer at left guard? Are they going to try and draft a left guard? Or are they just going to just roll with what they got and see who wins the job?
I think they'll bring back Barch. He's a free agent currently. You have no reason not to. He's at least a camp body, somebody that knows the offense, somebody that can give you some depth, barring health. Again, there's that phrase again. I do think, though, the third round is probably a sweet spot for a guard.
We don't have a third rounder.
Oh, you're right. That makes it worse. But
that was the hard part about the Odighizuwa trade. You gave up a third round pick.
Sorry, I didn't mean to blow your spot up.
No. That's actually a good point.
We got breaking news. Niners just placed Ben Barch on IR. There we go.
Already.
I also think that they might trade back from 27, and I wouldn't be mad about it. Like,
me neither.
If the guy they like or love is not there, there is a real sweet spot on day 2 and early on day 3. And they already have a bunch of 4th round draft picks. They have a 2nd, they have a 1st. Why wouldn't you trade back 10 spots or whatever and get a 2nd round draft pick and get maybe a 2nd next year or a 3rd and whatnot, and kind of get a haul in place of like, okay, now we have 8 draft picks or 7 draft picks, but they're all kind of in that bunch between 37 and 40 to 100 rather than being at 27, 50, and now 125 or whatever it is. So I think they're going to trade back. At least that's what I would do. It depends on who's there on the board. If Omar Cooper Jr. is there, then you're taking him. You just are.
Yes.
If you're in love with somebody on the board, you got to take him. But I think there's more value in round 2 this year than there is round 1, knowing that there's not many blue chip prospects in this year's draft compared to next year's draft, where there should be plenty, including a lot more quarterbacks, which Niners don't need one, but that makes more guys fall to them in subsequent picks.
Do you think, and I don't want to blow your spot up, Dre, because I don't know if that's one of your last topics. Do you think that the decision of possibly holding on to Ayuk till the draft for trade value could also open themselves up to possibly acquiring another pick where they could go spend on an offensive lineman?
I love it. I love what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, they totally sticking it to him, and I love it.
I mean, here's the thing.
I'm sending him to the Jets or the Browns.
Well, but here's the thing: is that
they have to want him first.
Well, yeah, they have to want him first. But they know damn well that the moment they cut him, he's going to walk over to the Commanders. They're going to sign him to a 1-year deal.
They're not going to allow that to happen.
And so, in their eyes, they're like, "Well, hold on, we've already given this guy a lot of money, and now we're just going to let him walk out of the building and go sign with somebody else."
Yeah.
Look, we already recouped all of his guaranteed money, and we're spending it every day. What you got?
It would be pretty funny if San Francisco reacquired their 6th round draft pick they traded away last year to Washington this year for Brandon Ayuk.
I thought you had actual breaking news. I was like, oh, here we go.
You're looking at your phone for a second. I'm like, ooh.
No. Sorry, no.
Okay, so that being said, I think that the Niners look at it and say, hey, wait a minute. Why are we going to let this guy walk away and go sign with whoever he wants to go sign with? If somebody really wants this guy, come and get him. If not, you're going to have to wait like everybody else. And I think, if you got Jaden Daniels in their ear saying, hey, I want Brandon Ayuk, they might say, okay, look, we'll give you a 6th round pick. a 5th-round pick, something. And I think something is better than nothing for Brandon Ayuk. You already recouped your guaranteed money back. But if I got any draft pick, a 6th-round pick, a 7th-round pick, I'd be happy knowing that this guy was going to get cut anyway, but now I at least recouped something back for Brandon Ayuk. But Sterling, why do you think they're doing what they're doing?
Because why not?
Exactly.
It is in the best interest of the organization. Maybe be a little petty because there's a real opportunity for them to at least, like, you have to weigh the costs of holding on to Brandon Ayuk. There's no guaranteed money on his book. They're not losing anything by keeping him until the draft and really until June 1st, which maybe it nets you draft picks, not this year, but next year. I don't know. I think what they're doing is they realize that there's going to be a team or two, preferably the Commanders, who want Brandon Ayuk, that they don't get a receiver that they like in round 1, in round 2, and for most of day 3. And that would make them at least broach the idea of trading away a late day 3 pick for Brandon Ayuk. And San Francisco, their money doesn't change. Now, they would take a bigger cap hit, I believe, if they trade him in April for the draft. And they'd take the dead cap hit earlier than spread it out over 2 years. So maybe there's a case of you wait till after the draft and you don't even want the compensation now. You want it later. You can wait till after June 1st when teams get into training camp and teams get into OTAs and someone goes down and you say, hey, give me a call. And I get straight away. So I like it. There's no reason to not at least attempt to do it because they've already given themselves the protection to afford to be able to do this. So, dude, it's like screw BA. Screw him.
Yeah.
You want to quit on us? Fine. You don't get to be in training camp. You don't get to be in OTAs. You don't get to go join your next team until the middle of August for all I care. Like, sorry, you quit on us. Somebody else gets you for nothing. Or they have to give us a crappy pick. It doesn't matter. Like, this was his choice.
Yep.
Live with your consequences. And this is hopefully it.
I mean, they basically said, hey, look, we know what you want. They're holding a picture of Jaden Daniels. They're like, you want this, don't you? But guess what? You thought we were going to let you go. You thought we'd just cut you and you can go do whatever the hell you want to do. Instead, they're like, no, we're going to hang on to you for a little bit longer and see if we can get any bites on this lure. See if we can get something for what would have been pretty much nothing for Brandon Ayuk.
They should Clockwork Orange him, put him in that room and just like display Jaden Daniel highlights and play Sensual Seduction by Snoop Dogg.
They need to take the scene where you want this, don't you? It's when Luke's standing next to the Emperor
exactly
the Jedi. I would put Jaden Daniels as the lightsaber and just have like BA superimpose BA's head on Luke Skywalker's belt. That would be funny.
That's what they're doing, man. They're like, hey, we know what you want, but guess what? It's not gonna. You don't control the situation. We do now. So, and look, there's a lot of people out there, there's content creators out there that are saying, hey, why are they doing this for? This is wrong. Just let him go. Let BA do his thing. Why are we doing this for? But guess what? This is a fucking business. This is called asset management. And look, you're hoping that the Niners are going to act in good faith. Well, they were hoping that Brandon Ayuk would act in good faith. But guess what? That didn't happen either. So now it is what it is, and they're going to handle this the way they want to handle it because it's a business, and all forms of morality go right out the window.
Well,
that's it.
He's a pussy bitch, and that's what he is. So, sorry.
Hold on to Ayuk and cut him on the final day of cut down. F him. Dave McNair's got a good point. Asset management.
I don't know. Do you guys think he can get any more than a late 3-day day 3 pick?
Not with that contract, not with the hassle he brings. Like you saw TJ Husmanzada, who was a receiver coach, being I don't know what happened to him. Like the money woke a monster in Brandon Ayuk, and sometimes you get around the right people and you're a place that you feel wanted, and that changes, and it's really feels like San Francisco is not that place for him. And maybe Washington is. Adam Peters, Jaden Daniels. There's been some other friends that were ex-Niners that are there now. I think it also helps that he's not going to be micromanaged by a head coach like Kyle Shanahan. And with receivers, Kyle is like that. I think BA wants to be left alone and wants to be a diva and not be bothered. And, if that's what you want, then the Niners aren't a place for you. When you're having your own receiver coach basically say he changed and he isn't the same person that I once knew, and I never knew the BA we saw the last couple of years, that's a problem. That's a massive red flag. You wouldn't do that with someone you're dating. You wouldn't do it with a friend. Why would you do it when you're paying somebody $30 million a year? So, no, it's going to be a 7th rounder or a 6th rounder, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And really, I agree with what Bashar says right here. If we get a pick, it's a W.
Yep.
And I think that's exactly their mindset. If we get a pick, that's a W. If we let him go, we know exactly what he's going to do or what he wants. And guess what? You guys want him? Come and get him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would take a 7th rounder in like a year and a half.
Yes.
Like literally anything.
Anything.
I'll take a player to be named later and some freaking international signing bonus money.
Pepperoni sticks.
Look.
Anything,
I would
please.
say you've used the money from Brandon Ayuk to sign Mike Evans. So whatever you get,
and acquire Osa too. It's the same money.
yeah. And so now it's like, hey, look, if we get a pick, it's just gravy on top. Let me ask you guys. Okay, this is gonna be the last question as you round things out. With the moves that they've made, Osa Odighizuwa, Mike Evans, Dre Greenlaw, Hobbs, still more moves to be made. A lot of players coming back from injury. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Michael Williams. Is this team gearing up to make one more run at a Super Bowl? Or do you think this team is just trying to remain competitive? Sterling?
I think they believe they can win it all. I think they realized last year that they are a much better team than what the actual healthy roster indicated. You knocked off their reigning Super Bowl champions. I think they're trying to fill every need they have. They draft based on need, so I expect that to continue in April. I do think that they're a team that, like, realistically, are the Seahawks going to repeat? Maybe. They're a darn good defense with an offense that's really competent, but they lost their offensive coordinator and they've lost a lot of pieces. Now the draft can change those things, but who knows? The Rams are beefing up for their kind of last run, but if Stafford goes down, that's a big question. The Niners, I think, feel like they're in a place to maybe take the leap to a Super Bowl contender based off of the context of the season rather than the strength of their roster. Because on paper, they're not as good as Seattle. They're not as good as the Rams are right now. And that can change if, some of the previous draft picks take a big boost in the next couple weeks and months and hopefully this year. But I would say they believe they can contend. However, I would not put them amongst the Super Bowl contenders as of right now.
Okay. I mean, they were damn close.
Yeah.
They got to the divisional round. And to me, look, if they got past Seattle, Niners, Rams, it could have gone any way. It could have gone any direction. Obviously, the advantage would have gone to the Rams, but the Niners could have pulled that off.
They would have beat the Patriots.
A healthy 49ers
especially
team, yeah. Yep.
if we had a healthy, and here we go again. If we had a healthy Nick Bosa, or even if we just had a healthy George Kittle, that would have changed things. But it is what it is. Aaron, does this team have a shot?
I'm with Sterling. I don't think that they would be my number one pick to be the representation in the NFC in the Super Bowl next year. However, like you said, you got guys coming back for year two. You have some players that are coming into their third year, like a Renardo Green. Health is a big thing. I still think that Mike Evans has some stuff left. I think Greenlaw on a short-term basis could be effective. We got Osa from the Dallas Cowboys. That's a definite upgrade in the interior pass rush. If they can bang this draft out, And then you take into account that Seattle might take a step back. You got to take into account that the Rams are 1 year older.
Yep.
I don't think they'll win. I'll put it to you like this. Right now, if you had to ask me, gun to my head, I don't think the Niners win the Super Bowl next year, but I think they have a potential shot to go deeper in the playoffs and at least give somebody a run for their money, who might eventually become Super Bowl champion. And like you guys were saying, a healthy 49er team this year beats the Patriots. The Patriots were so overmatched in that game. And like, it just, nothing depressed me more knowing that us, even with all the holes we had last year, even just Mikel and Bosa and all these young players that we've gone into the season with, could have beat that Patriots team. So really just comes down to health. Health is wealth. Another strong draft. If they can bang out the draft and get an edge rusher and a receiver, it changes a lot of stuff. But I don't consider them to be a Super Bowl favorite, but I think they've put themselves in a position to at least be competitive enough so when they go into a playoff game, they don't get drubbed like they did against Seattle, and it's a no contest. So, but we still, listen, like Sterling said, we still have the draft, and we don't know what last free agent move they might make. So we won't know what this team is going to be until they hit training camp or mini camp in June. Then we kind of have an idea what this team's going to be. So I'm more optimistic as we're coming out of free agency, or at least the main part of free agency and going towards the draft, than you guys know I was going into free agency, where I had absolutely zero confidence that they would make any moves. So that says a lot because I'm super negative.
How would you rank the NFC West teams? Cardinals the bottom, obviously, but between Seattle, the Rams, and Niners, how would you rank them, Dre?
I think on paper you would say probably the Rams, Seattle, and Niners, only because Seattle won the Super Bowl. However, I would put the Niners and Seattle much closer to each other, being the fact that they lost Reek Woolen, they lost Boye Mafe, Kenneth Walker. They also lost another guy too in their secondary as well.
Not
Josh Jobe. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's
yes,
gone.
Yeah.
I mean, when you name your kid Kobe Bryant, you're like, come on, dude. There's only one Kobe Bryant.
Pretty great name, though.
That's like naming your kid Michael Jordan. Like, really? Or James Bond. Like, come on.
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think I would agree that the Rams are probably the team to beat in the NFC West on paper right now. Better quarterback. The defense is way better on the back end, especially. Like, Seattle got worse this free agency. The Rams got way better, and San Francisco incrementally improved. Where I think you're right, Dre, that the Niners are much closer to Seattle than they are the Rams right now, at least on paper.
I think the Rams, Seattle is, we say all these things about the Seattle Seahawks. To me, it was a perfect storm for them to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. Because their one true competitor was the Rams. Nobody else had enough firepower and a good enough defense to hang with them like the Rams did. Yeah, but I think that the having lost those players, I mean, you saw Mike McDonald's response to when they said, "Hey, how do you respond to the players that you lost in free agency?" He's like, "You know what? I could care less. I don't even think about those guys." To me, that was a little bitter. He was a little bitter that they didn't retain any of those guys. So that's what that told me. But
kind of an asshole response.
It was because he let his emotions get the better of him, I think.
Pissed much?
But I think that they're like a Max Crosby move away from being like, oh, there we go. Now they're right back where they were again. But we'll see. But to me, they lost a lot on defense, and that was their biggest asset was defense. And they lost their starting running back. I'm sorry. Zach Charbonnet is not a starting running back.
Off an ACL tear.
Off an ACL tear. I know they went out and signed, what's his face, the running back. I don't know who the hell.
Emmanuel Wilson from the Packers.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's not going to get it done.
They might draft, is it Price from Notre Dame, who is behind Jeremiah Love? That dude is so good. That is my biggest fear.
They've drafted extremely well. So
Seattle just replenishes the entire core.
I know.
And they have like a ton of compensation picks in 2027, and we're all like, damn. That was very short-lived.
When you look at the first round of last year's draft, I mean, one of the guys that I would argue at this point, like, hey, maybe you don't draft Michael Williams and you draft Nicky Manwari. That guy was a dog last season.
Sure.
He was really, really good at safety for being a rookie. Now, I like Michael Williams, but I'm saying, like, that was one area that we struggled in with safety. And that would have been a huge bump to have him out there instead of Pinnock and Siegel and Jair Brown. It was just a mess.
I will say this, though. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, do I think this team can win a Super Bowl? I do. And I think they're not done yet. I think they're still going to make a few more moves. We haven't done the draft yet. But I think this team at least made enough moves so far where they're going to be able to compete with the Rams and the Seahawks in our division. That's for sure. And like Kyle said before, if you get in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yep.
Now, that holds true to a certain extent. But in the NFL, it only holds true to, maybe in the wild card round. When you start getting in the later rounds, when a team is just too good, they're just too good. Now, you could do that in baseball and basketball, but NFL, it's a little harder just to run the gauntlet and surprise everyone and win a Super Bowl. But go ahead, Aaron.
I know this is all, fantasy booking or fantasy talking about quote players, but the Niners would make their chances of winning a Super Bowl increase by 85% if they did the unthinkable, and that's make a move for a guy like Crosby or thinking of the receiver from the Eagles.
A.J. Brown?
Yeah, if the Niners did something like that, like a move that they don't usually make, which is to go get a player who is essentially maybe one of the guys at the top of their game and spend a ton of money on it. I just, like we said earlier, I don't think they're at that place yet to make that kind of move. This draft to me is integral going forward to where the Niners could maybe do something like that next year. To me, that would be the only way where you might be able to jump Seattle or the Rams is if you made a move like so ridiculously ridiculous that the Niners just don't make. Then you could put them in that place, but I just don't see it happening. So,
I mean, if they went out and got Joey Bosa, again, you're getting another guy that's had a history of injuries.
Their family has problems with injuries. Their father
and
has
a lack
problems.
of production for over half a decade.
Yeah. All you're really doing is just getting the other Bosa brother out there.
Just a name at this point.
It's the name.
Yeah.
The Bosas are coming after you, Who knows?
Like the Bill signing freaking Von Miller, and he hasn't been good in probably 6 years, and they're like, oh, we signed Von Miller. It's like, yeah, but he's like way past his prime, so.
Yeah. He's way old. Way too old.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see if they address the O-line, perhaps in free agency, perhaps in the draft. I don't think they will. I think they're content with what
They have to draft a guard.
They'll definitely draft somebody.
We say that, and then they don't get a guy till the 7th round.
They drafted Connor Colby. What do you mean?
Watch out for Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon. They were at 7 Oregon games this year. Watch out for that.
Yeah, they watched a lot of Oregon football. They're big on their program. So, guys, that's going to do it for the Cover 3 podcast. I want to thank Aaron and Sterling for coming out here again. We're dropping a fire stream. Guys, if you like this content, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Dre Area Sports, to 49ers First Takes, and to 49ers Access Podcast for nonstop 49ers action. I want to thank everyone in the chat who came out, most of which on Sterling's side, but we have 145 watching. What's this? We got breaking news? What? Anything? No? Maybe he's just saying that. No.
Gardner Minshew officially signed. I don't know if that matters with the Cardinals.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
It's the greatest soundbite of all time.
That's I had to download it.
I like the Lamar Odom one. He was on crack. It's like, dude, come on, man.
He says, I was just joking. Okay, thanks.
Get out. Never again.
Dude, what's up with all the Larry Kruger smack in the chat tonight?
I don't know.
Oh, man. Bobo hating on him big time. We
Big
like
time.
Larry. Come on, man.
I like Larry. Larry's a good guy. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for the show. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Whatever channel you're watching this on, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Share the stream. Stephen A. Smith, Bam Adebayo. Okay. Hey, guys, we'll be back next week for an all-new episode of the Cover 3 podcast. From Aaron, from Sterling, from myself, thank you for watching. Go Niners. Get an edge rusher. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.